Hey, this is Ida with the Maeart Creative, where we want to inspire, inform, and encourage you to create your next masterpiece. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to find the best therapist for your needs. I just recently, within the last 4 to 5 months, started going to therapy. Here's some tips on the steps that I took that may help you get started. Let's jump into the video. The first thing I would say to anyone who asks me about therapy is, it's okay to be scared. I debated about going to therapy for years. I would get so close and then back out right before meeting with the therapist. There were so many reasons as to why I had a hard time getting over the hump. I was afraid of people thinking I was weak, talking to a stranger, not wanting to be seen as crazy, and just a general fear of what I would learn about myself going to therapy. It's okay if you're thinking about those things also, but what I would say to you is don't allow those thoughts to keep you from potentially changing your life for the better. So let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, decide what you're going to therapy for. Is it depression, family issues, grief? It could be all 3, but you need to know exactly what you want to talk about before you start searching for a therapist. Knowing these things will narrow down the search for the therapist that's right for you. Number 2, contact your EAP program through your insurance. They're usually 24 hours and they assist you in finding the therapist that's best for your needs. Most companies give you a certain amount of free sessions with the therapist for the year. Utilize them. Some companies have even extended the amount of free sessions you get for this year because of everything that's happened with the pandemic. Also, a tip, those free sessions start over every calendar year. So if you've used them for this year, remember next year in 2021, that restarts. So utilize those free sessions again. Number 3, research what therapist you may need. All of this was new to me, but I'll let you guys know what I found in that search. The main types of therapists I ran across in my search were psychiatrists, psychologists, licensed professional counselors, and licensed clinical social workers. After a lot of reading and things that I didn't really understand, the biggest takeaway I had is that psychiatrists can prescribe medication and pretty much all the other ones cannot. Personally, I didn't need medication and I didn't want to speak to anyone that medication could potentially be their first option for treatment. I wanted to speak to someone who was more like a counselor, but that just wasn't what I was looking for. You may need something more. Do your research and find out what works best for where you are mentally. I know there's been a lot going on, but let me know what the biggest struggle for you has been going through this pandemic this year. Let me know in the comment section below. Number 4, ask questions. This was the hardest thing for me my first session. I was so nervous. I knew I would not be able to think of any questions off the top of my head. So I wrote down some questions that I could potentially ask in my consultation visit with the therapist. If you're like me and have no clue where to start for this, I've created a blog post that lists a couple of potential questions that you can ask your therapist in that first consultation visit. Check that out in the description. Number 5, just talk. It gets better, I promise. I'm not a talker at all. I'm an absolute introvert, and that first visit was like pulling teeth for me. It was hard for me to talk to a stranger about problems that I hadn't faced, telling her my deepest thoughts and secrets. But my therapist was very forthcoming in telling me that it's a process and it's gonna be uncomfortable. And boy, was she right. But it gets better. You just have to be willing to try. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. Just don't give up. All right, so let's run through the 5 tips for finding a therapist. Number 1, decide what you're going to therapy for. Number 2, get in touch with your insurance program. See what's available to you and utilize it. Number 3, research what therapist fits your needs. Number 4, ask questions to find out if this is the right therapist for you. Number 5, just talk. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Take a hold of your life. If you're struggling with life right now, or you're doing fine, but you think that there's some things in your past you should work through, get some help. Only you can change your life. No one else can make that decision for you. One of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Eric Thomas. He says, "Get a reward for your pain." I'll link a great video by him in the description below. I hope that you all just keep going and keep fighting. If this video brought value for you, hit the like and subscribe button or check out one of our other videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.